We've been looking at some biblical purposes for which God employs the prophetic in people's lives. Let's look at the fifth purpose that we've been looking at as we go through these different reasons. Opening doors for the gospel. In John's Gospel, chapter 4, we read how Jesus penetrated an unbelieving lady's heart by prophetically revealing parts of her life story. She ultimately was convinced of Jesus' message and that he was the Messiah, and shamelessly shared her conviction with others. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 24 through 25 says that a prophetic word that reveals the secrets of a stranger's heart can cause him or her to declare that God is present and respond to God in conviction and in worship. I recall a meeting I had with a highly connected international businessman from Eastern Europe. He was a self-confessed agnostic, believing there could be a God, but that such a God was disinterested in people and that he could not be personally known. As we continued talking about this in prayer prior to the meeting, my wife and I had a sense that this man was in a very difficult place in business. There was heartache over his mother being close to death, and his wife was seriously ill and without diagnosis. I wrote this down on a 3x5 card and went to the breakfast meeting. As opportunities presented themselves throughout the meeting, I appropriately shared with this man what we'd received in prayer, and that we'd prayed for him and prayed for his situations. Everything I shared with him ended up being accurate, and I showed him the 3x5 card. At that point, he stopped the conversation to ask, "How do you know all of this?" I told him that while he may think that God is totally disinterested in him and that God cannot be known, the opposite is actually true. I said that Jesus Christ, God the Son, is alive and knows the deepest recesses of his heart. And even more importantly, he cares for him and that he loves him. I then spent the next 5 minutes explaining to him the gospel of Jesus Christ. He did not receive Jesus Christ as a Savior that morning, but he did say that he had just experienced a most powerful argument for Jesus Christ and the gospel as opposed to the world's other religions. The woman in John chapter 4 was not convinced of Jesus through intellectual argument, but through exposing the issues of her heart, she became a believer.